Hey everybody, I'm Todd. This is Searight Disc Golf Course in Austin, Texas, and there are precisely no pictures on the scorecard. On a less windy day, I might think about going up, throwing like a big forehand Annie up and over the trees to try to get to the basket, which is kind of behind this tree right here. But being that it's a little breezy today, I think I'm going to try to keep it low. Haven't exactly worked out what I'm going to do yet, but I'm definitely going to throw a low shot and try to shoot this gap right here. So I'm back here out at Searight. This is the 10th hole, 261 foot par 3 that doglegs left. It doesn't really show it on that placard. I've got my escape here. I'm throwing a backhand, trying to keep it low under these trees, and I actually throw a really good shot. I'm very happy with that. So I'm behind this bushy tree here, as you can see, and I'm thinking I'm going to throw kind of a high-ish backhand with a very stable putter. This is my Entropy. And I throw the shot I want to throw, but then I clipped that tree and fell straight down. Now I'm in trouble. I'm left with this 24-foot par putt from under a tree, kind of a wide straddle. I just don't make a very good putt, but I'm not blaming my putt here. In fact, as you'll see in a minute, I'm actually thinking I made a poor choice on my second shot that really led to this bogey. It's a tough bogey to take. It's not a bogey hole. It's an easy par, but I just kind of screwed it up. And I think here's why. Well, on the one hand, I can't blame my putting for that bogey, really. I don't know if I got unlucky or if I just made a bad choice with that third shot, or that second shot rather. I was taking a stable putter and just trying to kind of spike it in, not thinking that those trees that I ended up hitting were in my way. So I'm going to chalk that up to a bad decision. I probably should have tried something kind of low down underneath the bushy tree that I was behind, or something else. Yeah, I think that was just a bad decision. I can't really blame my putting for that. I had a kind of a wide straddle putt for par and didn't hit metal from about 24 feet, which isn't great. But yeah, I think it was a bad choice that led to that bogey. Okay, so the basket sits kind of right behind these trees over here. This isn't a long hole. Really, the play here is like a mid-range of some kind on the forehand and let it hyzer into the basket. It's the trick here is not to make it harder than it is. The wind is up a little bit, which does make it a little harder, but this should be a pretty stock shot. One thing any kind of golf will teach you is patience. There are things that happen on the golf course that you just can't account for. You don't know they're going to happen, and you're about to see one happen to me. No exaggeration that that little air bounce killed me. I threw that shot exactly the way I wanted to, and the wind just kind of screwed me. You know, it's part of the game. It's nothing you can do about it, but it does suck. So I clipped these brushy trees on the left here and left me about 81 feet. Not really running this. I mean, it's just not a putt that I would necessarily run. Just laying it up close so I can make an easy par. Well, I feel some good things coming in this round. Not exactly sure when, but right now we're going to do 13 seconds of peace.
The 13th out here at Searight might be my favorite hole on the course. I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's my favorite hole on the course. I really like this hole. It's a par 4, requires a good tee shot, getting through these guardian trees here. There's another tree in the middle of the fairway that plays on your second shot unless you absolutely bomb your drive. And then you have to play down through a tunnel to the basket. It's a really interesting hole. It requires a lot of technical throws, and I really like this hole a lot.
The trouble I often have on this tee is getting the height right. I've got my trusty trespass here, and I've just got to get the height right, and I do. I throw a really good shot. I'm super happy with that.
So I got a little unlucky. I actually hit this log right here, this half-buried log right here, instead of skipping up, or I would have gotten another, I don't know, 25, 30 feet. So I'll take this though. This is a good shot. I've got to negotiate this tree. And then the little tunnel down to the basket actually is right over in here. It's kind of hard to see, but the basket is right there. So you got to kind of get around this tree somehow and then negotiate the tunnel and hopefully make par.
So it took me a minute to get the footing here. This is an awkward little position with the stump next to me. But once I get it all worked out, actually throw a pretty good shot. It didn't flip up them as much as I wanted, but it wasn't terrible. So I did get a little lucky here. The trees kept me going too deep into the woods. I mean, the canopy of the trees knocked me straight down. So I've got 117 feet here. I've got my entropy, my overstable putter, and I'm just throwing a little flick up there somewhere near the basket.
If I'm being completely honest, I haven't figured out exactly how I want to play this hole yet. The basket is right up there, and it seems like it sets up well for my forehand if I play a little, like, I don't know, Anheuser flip or a hyzer flip, I mean, or an Anheuser with a stable disc and get it to fit, hyzer back to the basket. Either I haven't figured out how I want to play it, or I haven't thrown the shot I want to throw on this hole yet. But I usually make par. I very rarely make birdie. In fact, I'm not entirely sure I've ever made birdie on this hole, but I'm going to give it a try today.
You can see that this hole plays a little uphill. You go up these steps. It's 249 feet, as you can see. I'm trying a shrike here. I'm throwing a little understable shrike from the left side of the tee pad, and I'm pretty happy with how I throw this. It has good height. It has good angle, a good Anheuser angle as I let it go, and it misses the trees on the left and ends up really good.
Well, there wasn't much wrong with that. I threw that pretty much the way I wanted to, maybe a little higher than I wanted to, but not bad. I threw the shot I wanted. I probably could have thrown it a touch harder. I have a feeling it's going to be short of the basket by a little bit. I'm not sure I'm going to even be in the circle, but that was the shape I want to throw, and maybe a little more power and a little less height, and I can get it skipping up to the basket. But no complaints. I threw the shape I wanted to.
This shot actually ended up a lot better than I thought it was going to. You can see here I'm 24 feet away, so inside the circle, lining up just a putter, trying to make my first birdie of this round. And there it is, birdie pose. Hell yeah. As I retreat into the shadows here, you can see this hole is 267. There's a very sharp dogleg left, and the problem with this hole is there's nowhere to put the camera behind me back in there. So what I'm left with is this angle of watching the disc fly past. There's still some dogleg left here, so I could not get a distance on this throw. It's not long though, but I'm throwing my overstable entropy here. Basically just trying to kind of lob this up around the corner, and it's in good shape. I might have to step out from a tree, but it's fine. Just a simple 12-footer for par here, nothing fancy, just kind of step out from underneath the tree and knock it down.
All right, this hole is fun and scenic, as you can see. Basket's right there. It's not a long hole. You just got to figure out a way to keep your disc from hyzering on the way down, because you start up so high and you're throwing down this hill and the disc wants to hyzer. And then of course you have trees in the way like this one and these branches on this one. So it's not the easiest hole in the world to get down all the way to the basket. I've obviously seen people do it. I've come damn close, but man, it's a tricky little shot for me.
My goal here is to throw this Hades and try to get it to slip around that first tree I showed you in the preview. And I throw this pretty well, but it catches that tree. And you can't really see it here, but it catches that tree and basically drops me straight down. I make a mistake here. I take the disc I want to throw. It's an overstable verdict, but the mistake I make is that I don't put enough anhyzer on this throw, and I throw it too far right. So the disc stables up and I end up in trouble. It's hard to overstate what a mess that second shot was, because now I'm in so much trouble. I've got 40 feet here, and I'm kind of in a bush, so I have to get my foot in under this bushy tree. I've got limbs overhead, so I can't really throw the disc up. Eventually I have to resort to taking a knee, and it's just an awkward putt. You know, I can't throw the disc high enough to really get it to the basket. I make a valiant effort. I'll give myself a credit for making a valiant effort, but it was never really close to going in. And it slides by, and I end up with a 8-footer for a bogey. But really, that second shot was just awful, and definitely what cost me that bogey.
Hey guys, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I would certainly appreciate it. Just to show your love for no pictures on the scorecard. Thanks. So this plays as a really just a hint of a dogleg right. It's not a particularly long hole, but it's basically a path through the trees. So if you get offline anywhere, you're probably making bogey because you won't have a shot at the green. Ideally, you want to just throw something that's in the opening that's beyond these trees here, and then just try to find a way. There's a path to the basket, or you can go over some trees, but basically just find a way to the basket. I can't see this being a birdie hole for a lot of people, just because you'd have to throw it super precise and super far to even have a shot of stopping it anywhere near the basket. So it's a par hole, especially for me, so that's what I'm going to try to make.
So I've got my most overstable disc in my bag. This is a criminal that I'm throwing, and I don't throw this disc a lot, but on days like this, when the wind's coming in and I need to hit a fairway, this is kind of a go-to.
To me, this is one of the harder holes out here at Searight, mainly because it's such a precise shot to have anything into this green. You have to really throw a really good shot to find this little meadow, and then hope you're not blocked by trees. So it's a tough hole for me. I imagine other people play it really easily because, you know, they're better than me. But it's definitely a tough hole.
Got 114 feet here. You can see that even with the wind, this criminal ended up on the far right side of the fairway. The basket is just to the left of my left arm, so I'm kind of throwing this up in the air on a flick and getting it to spike down, and it's a good shot.
Okay, so this is a kind of a sweeping dogleg left. It's not a long hole. None of the holes out here are particularly long, but this hole kind of requires, if you have a righty backhand, big, like a high spike hyzer. I mean, it doesn't require that, but it seems like the play a lot of people who can make that play make. For me, it's more of a like a flat thrown mid-range, maybe a little understable mid-range, just to get it to move to the right a little bit. Thrown on the backhand, of course. Get it to move to the right a little bit and open up some space for it to hyzer back into the basket. So that's usually what I try to do. I try to hit a gap I try to hit this gap about 10 feet off the ground or so, and like I said, get it to flip up a little bit, slide to the right, and then hyzer back in.
I know I said I was throwing an understable disc, but after feeling the wind and everything, I decided to go verdict, and I actually throw this really well. My tee shot slid up here to just outside the circle. I've got about 33 feet, and it's kind of breezy. I'm not really counting on making this putt at this point, but I'm giving it a run because why wouldn't I? And I made it. Don't give you the birdie pose. I give you a little dance here. Yeah, don't judge me. I'm a white guy. I'm a middle-aged white guy.
Well, I guess I don't have to tell you it felt good to make that putt, especially considering how badly I've been putting. I will absolutely take that birdie. That's a great birdie for me. I think that brings me back down to 3 over through 17. So I'm not playing great, just not playing badly, just not making any putts. That's the thing. I didn't make any putts on the front 9, and now I'm starting to make a couple on the back 9, and it feels good.
So this is the last hole at Searight, 300 feet, dog legs right, pretty sharply, sharper than it looks on that picture. I throw a good forehand here, put myself in great shape.
This hole doesn't set up particularly well for me, throwing a forehand, which is ironic because it's a dogleg right, but the tree is kind of snugged into the left side of the fairway as you get down here. So ideally what you want to throw is a backhand anhyzer that's going to stable up and then coast to the basket, but I don't really have that shot, at least not at this distance. So I'm kind of forced to just see if I can make a long putt for birdie, which is what I have right here.
Someday I'll be able to throw a backhand anhyzer that'll find its way down closer to this basket. But in the meantime, these little 40 footers for par, or for birdie rather, I'll take them.
I think I finished 3 over. It's not terrible. I didn't putt particularly well, so considering how poorly I putted, not bad. Guys, I really appreciate you watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Just keep in mind, there are no pictures on the scorecard.